Here I am. I made it. Good evening. I made it. Yeah, it was a busy week. Last week I had a bunch of beach photo shoots, so those all happened at night. I think 3 nights in a row I was out there, so I didn't get a chance to come on and do a show. My summers sometimes can be a little bit hectic, because in the evenings when I start working, so maybe I could switch and do a show during the day, record it every other week or so during the day. So I'll see how that works. See what's going on. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully it's a lot cooler where you are than where I am. Having this ginormous heat wave. And I recorded a show earlier today too, and I was talking about losing track of my days. It was maybe Wednesday. I'm out in the morning, late morning, walking through the forest, doing my speed walks like a crazy person. And it was hot. I mean, it was humid. I was like drenched. I got like 2 miles in and my body was like, dude, this isn't happening today. Actually, I had to stop, sit down for a while. So that heat really, it's been rough during the day. I think tomorrow's going to be our worst day. So hopefully you're staying cool where you are. And out here in New Jersey, it's closing in on 100, and then with that humidity, it's like oof. And tomorrow's another exercise day for me, so I don't know if I'm going out there and doing it. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 100, so I think I'll not go and do like power walking tomorrow. I'll wait for it to hopefully cool down a little next week. So just wherever you are, stay inside, stay refreshed, drink plenty of water, enjoy your summer. So how are you? Thanks for stopping by. My name is Michael. I'm a women's photographer from New Jersey. We get on and do this show every couple of weeks, answering pretty common questions that people have about boudoir photography, the boudoir process. I've been doing this for 15 plus years. It's like a really long time. Work with hundreds of women, and it's not so easy. And the point of this show is, we want women to have a great experience. And there's a lot of missteps you can make. It's not as simple as you think initially if you're going out there and trying to find a photographer. So we're trying to answer some questions people may otherwise think are straightforward, but may not be so straightforward, and trying to get some help. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. I think I was having a rough week with my computer too. I don't know what was going on, recording the podcasts and everything, and losing internet connections and streaming, and somehow my computer Wi-Fi settings changed, and so hopefully that's all straightened out now and we have some crispy video and no sync issues, and maybe the technology can't take the heat. Who knows? Who really knows in the 2000s what's going on in the universe? But here we are. So we have a couple of questions we're going to jump into this evening. Just going to take my name off of there. And I think I loaded these up like 2 weeks ago, so I have absolutely no recollection of what I put in here. Got a couple to go through tonight, and we'll get some answers as always. If you have any questions, you can add them in the chat below. A lot of people watch the show afterwards and then come across anything. Just you could leave questions in the comments and I'll get them in a future episode. Most of these are still coming through my website and chat. So we'll go through these and then we'll get about with our summer night. I don't think I'm doing anything else exciting. I had a lot of energy today. I sat down for dinner and I was like, oh, suddenly I feel tired. But we'll make it through. We can do it. Together we can do it. Okay, and I think they fixed my banner question, or my banner issue here in EVMux, so I think we are good with questions being in order and showing. So we'll see how this goes. So first question, in one of my personal kind of like things that has always driven me nuts about not even just women's photographers, but photographers in general, is just the ridiculous way they tend to price things. And this was I remember this as an email, and the woman sent me a link to the website, and I'm not going to say where this was, but this is pretty typical of what you would find, and it drives people nuts, and the photographers don't even realize that. But the question was, why are boudoir photographers pricing so complicated? I was shopping in my area, and all you see is diamond collection, gold collection, elite bonus tier, premium bonus tier, RP. And if you pick a gold collection item, you get 2 elite tier bonuses and 1 platinum tier bonus. And if you prepay, you get a 2 gem level upgrade. There are hundreds of words on this pricing page that I am not even taking time to read. It makes me not want to use that photographer. And this is where they included a link and stuff. And I'm not saying where this was, but actually, it was 2 separate photographers. They're very similar with their pricing mess, but all of them in my area use this nonsense. Can't we just normalize just paying for a regular session? Do I need a NASA scientist to figure out boudoir pricing? The unfortunate answer to this is you do. And I was looking at these pages that this woman sent me, and literally there were like 1,000 or more plus words on this page. All of these packages, all of these bonus tiers, and if you prepay, you picked something else bonus for it's incomprehensible to a normal human being. May make sense to the person that did that. I mean, it probably doesn't make sense. But for someone shopping, and this is for any photographers that listen to this, they just want to know what the heck is going on. This is just too much. And this is just so widespread that people make things so goddamn complicated for customers. Like, just imagine if this was like a restaurant menu and you went in, you want to order a dinner? What do you want? Steak and potatoes. Great. No, but you have to pick our platinum dinner package, which includes 2 vegetables and 1 this and 1 that. Or if you get a soup, then you could get a salad. You can pick 1 gold tier item and 1 this tier item. If you get a salad, then you could double up with gems, and then you could pick how many croutons you want on your salad. But if you're in a regular tier, you only get 1 crouton, no salad. But it's like mind-numbing. If restaurants ran that way, no one would be going to restaurants. People would be like crazy. But photographers have normalized this like very arcane like kind of pricing. And I think, not to make excuse for these photographers, but for the people who run into that, usually my hunch is it's not the photographer coming up with this. They get their marching order from some online guru, fake guru, who probably doesn't even have a business that makes money. And they say, well, if you really want to maximize your money, this is how you do it. You create these packages and sub tiers and bonus tiers and And they're like, oh, well, if she says it works and that's how people, and that's what I'm going to do. And then they copy what some online influencer tells them and create this tremendous mess of a pricing scheme on their website. And I'm not joking when I'm saying this was easily on this page scrolling. It's probably closer to 2,000 words on this page. And then it had a prepay section with 400 or more words in there explaining, if you prepay, then you have to do this, and you have to do this, and prepay this, and bonus this, and I'm going to try it, and I need 9 credit cards from you, and I need this, and I need that, and it just went on and on and on and on. Like, you literally need to hire like an attorney and spend 5 hours or more, Charlie, probably to figure out everything that was on this page. I'm being a little bit facetious, but you get the idea. And the bottom line is people can't figure this out. And if it's difficult, they're just going to take one look at that and click away and go somewhere else. like this woman indicated. And yeah, and I understand whether you're an a la carte photographer and you pay a session fee and then you just buy what you want to afterward. That's the simplest way to do it. Or if you're doing packages, just fine. Everybody does packages too, or options. Just got to make it somewhat more comprehensive for people. Simple. A, B, and C. And that's it. No sub bonus points and this tier or that tier, or if you level up, just add it in. Make it simple. Nobody could understand that. It's just gobbledygook. It doesn't help. Your online fake guru is wrong. Whoever you're copying these, in marching orders from. So I agree. And you do need a NASA scientist to figure that out. And ultimately, I think these photographers suffer in some way for doing something like that because people can't quite get it. And from the quick couple of links I looked at, these are people looking for enormous amounts of money too, for like $10,000, and it's just like really high price stuff. And looking at the pictures I saw, it ain't even worth no $10,000. But that's another issue. But just keep it like simple. And as far as photography is all, you could do like 9 hours on people doing pricing boudoir just photography in general. But some photographers work very custom, and they will go per person and create stuff with that they want. What do you want? A little wedding album, a couple digital pictures. Okay, you could do this or you could do this. And on the client side, you have to understand a little bit that pricing out photography or doing work photography could be a little bit like going to a builder and getting a house done. You just don't call up a builder and say, how much are your houses? Well, how many bedrooms do you want? You got land? How big is it? There's a lot of details that go into what the house is going to be. Photography could be a little bit similar. Sometimes they will bundle things. But some of these weird packages have way more stuff than anybody wants in them. And, so it gets tricky. Best thing is to keep it simple. People can understand. They can look at it and say, yeah, this looks good for me. Because once people have to 3,000 words trying to figure out pricing, the odds of people making it through 5% of that page before they leave are probably small, let alone the remaining 2,500 words on that page explaining. And I know somehow it makes sense to you, but that's a mess. This photographer's got to do something. But yeah, and my recommendation is and if everybody's doing it in your area, you got a little bit of a problem. But just find somebody who's simple pricing that you can understand. Or if you're really feeling motivated, you could always call these people and say, you got to spare 4 or 5 hours to explain your pricing to me. And, maybe they can work something out with you. But yeah, it was a little bit of a mess going on with those two people I saw. So I get it. I feel your pain. It's always been one of my bugaboos, is just this bizarre pricing that people do because they're not thinking about customers. Just keep it simple. People get confused. It gives them stress. They don't like to feel like they don't understand things. And, it's just not great. It's just not how you operate like that. But people are going to do what they're going to do because their online guru told them. So strike one up for the gurus there. I feel bad. Hopefully you can find someone in your area. But no, you're not crazy. You're not the crazy one that was crazy in that situation. So I appreciate the question. And unfortunately, that's the reality of boudoir in some situations. So search till you find something simple and enjoy your session. You're going to need a vacation after you find someone in your area with all that stress to try to get pricing. So you're going to need to plan a trip after your session. But good question. And then we're going to go on here to the next one. I think these are much easier and simpler. And question 2 was, what's the difference between boudoir and erotic boudoir photography? Are there different poses? Thanks, Diane. Yeah, well, yeah, boudoir and erotic boudoir, are different things. One maybe is a subset of the other. Erotic boudoir is just a little bit different. And really, as the name implies, like boudoir isn't necessarily about sexuality, overt sexuality. It's more about beauty, cuteness, seeing a woman like maybe in a bit of a voyeuristic way and portraying them in a certain way. And she's so beautiful and elegant. So boudoir historically is more beauty focused. You're making people look in a certain way. When you're doing erotic photos, the focus becomes a bit more on overt sexuality, and it's right there, so there is a definite difference between the two in the style, the approach, and then the message of the photos. And one is not better than the other. One is not right. The other is not wrong. Every photographer that does boudoir does not necessarily want to get involved in erotic boudoir. Erotic boudoir, again, is a very relative term because erotic is to one person is just boring to another and every day. So erotic is a kind of very vague representation of, it could be something very mild in one person's mind, and to them that's erotic because they're, a little bit more demure. To another person, erotic can mean stuff I can't even say on the YouTube, and that's okay as well. So, that's really the difference. And then when you get into erotic photography, like I said, I've done sessions, where it's different things, different, I remember doing some recently with some leather, I don't know what you call them, like restraints, and the focus is more like on this sexual anguish, and then there could be a bit more nudity that is just more in your face and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different of approach. The poses would be different, just a bit more, I would say, in your face and maybe sexually explicit things that you may find with erotic versus traditional boudoir. And so, this is one thing, as we always talk about, is if that's something you were considering, that's fine. And you just really want to talk to the person you're going to be working with ahead of time, have a discussion with them and say, hey, I was thinking of doing something a bit more erotic. Any ideas? Or is that something you do? Make sure they're okay with it. Or if you have some very ideas that you've planned, that they're okay doing what you have in mind, and they can accommodate you, and they may give you some guidance and, hey, not really, but, so there are differences. One is not required. There's erotic is not necessarily a part of boudoir. And like I said, there isn't one right way to do a boudoir shoot. It's many things to many different people. And it's all about comfort and what someone wants to get out of their session. If you want to be cute, you could stick with very traditional boudoir poses. You can mix them up. People want to come in and definitely do things more toward the erotic side. If they're on board and everyone's okay, and, game on. But there can be, it isn't as simple as, it's kind of more of a spectrum than it is with erotic than one thing. So, it gets a little bit involved. Or if you saw some photos, you always share them. I had with the person you're working with, these are some ideas I found, and that way they can have an idea of what you're thinking and tell them whether that's something they can produce for you or not. So hopefully that was helpful, and thank you, Diane, for sending that in. Hopefully you're catching the video. And on to number 3. I think this is a multi-parter too. Is it possible for me to bring a friend to my boudoir shoot and include her in a few photos. She really loves boudoir, but can't afford her own shoot. She's comfortable posing with me, ... Do you think a photographer would allow this? Just trying to help a friend. Thanks. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. And, my hunch is, I don't know. I really don't know. Depends on the photographer in your area. My hunch is that some photographers may not want to have 2 sessions going on for the price of one, because they're, especially if the other person doesn't plan on purchasing anything. So I really think it's to the extent that this person wants to be involved. Now, I had people my friend come along and for giggles jump in for a few photos, because my husband would die, if he saw me with her in a few pictures, and, haha, yeah, it's funny, jump in, and they would do a couple pictures, but it wasn't really like a whole nother session for that other woman. It was just kind of a few pictures together, which is kind of one thing. Trying to shimmy somebody in to give them a whole entire session when they're not paying for it, or, and then you're just going to kind of, I don't know. You're trying to get like a 2-for-1 there. You're trying to go in and order 2 meals for the cost of one at a restaurant, and then, you can get the shrimp or you can get the steak, but you can't get the shrimp and the steak because you're just paying for one dinner. So I appreciate you trying to help your friend. So my rough guess is, usually most photographers will let somebody come along as moral support. I don't know how many are going to let that person do an entire session with you. Like I said, because in their perspective, they're shooting a free session, and if there's no intent also for that person to purchase anything, why would they go through all that time doing all that work to do photos when they know no one has money and they're not going to be buying them? If it's a picture or two to jump in together, haha, look at us, we're doing a couple pictures together. My husband would think it would be so cute. Possibly, because it's not like, she's doing her own session. So, and again, as we say, just always tell the person, say, hey, can I bring my friend? And have that conversation and see what the photographer you're going to work with says. So that's a tricky one, because you're trying to get somebody a session for free and probably not going to work out the way that you want. Best of intentions, so probably best going by yourself. Have your friend save up, or have her save up, and if you really want to do a shoot together, have her save up, and you just wait till she's ready, and then go and do a session together. But thank you. And next question. I think this is a one-parter. What exactly is a boudoir video? How is it different from a boudoir shoot? And is there talking? Is there a script in your boudoir? Do you have to memorize lines? Well, a boudoir video, really in its simplest form, is just kind of a moving version of a boudoir photo. And they can be actually pretty simple. You could be posing by a window, and the photographer just simply slowly painting down your body. You may move your arms a little bit, or turn around and look at the camera, or look away. Very simple motions. There's no complex routines involved or anything like that. So in general, usually these videos are simple and short. You're not doing a lot of moving all over the place, or there's no dialogue to remember. It's just a short video of you standing or lying or sometimes walking. Now, they can get complicated and long. There could be videos of some length, multiple minutes, 6, 8, 10 minutes or longer, multiple cameras involved, and a lot of editing involved. So videos can get pretty complex, but in general, they're pretty simple. And how is it different from a boudoir shoot? Is, well, I think, when people talk about boudoir shoots, they're more talking about photos. We're going in for a photo shoot. So it's possible that videos may be part of a shoot, but there's some overlap there in those tones. So in those terms. So if someone said you're coming in for a boudoir shoot, there could be a video involved, but more commonly they're talking about taking photos there. And as part of the third part of that question, generally there isn't talking in boudoir videos. Usually there's music playing in the background. It's just like an audio track that plays. Very rarely I've had someone who wanted to do like some dialogue, just like, I don't even remember what some people would say, happy birthday, or something like a message at the end of a video to the partner or the person if they were shooting it for someone. But there's no memorization of lines. Actually, it's fun to make a video. It can be repetitious too. I mean, the way that I do it, sometimes you're shooting the same scene from different sides, because I'm a one-person operation, so you may have to shoot something from this side, bring the camera, reshoot the same thing. But it's fun. For the people. I've been getting better at it, and just like when you're doing photos, you want to make it an activity and something people do. For videos, kind of your photographer will do the same thing and make it kind of a fun activity. And then it takes a little getting used to for I think for clients, because you just see someone moving around with a camera around you. You don't necessarily understand how that's all going to be cut together in the end and edited. So sometimes you're unless they're explaining to you what they're doing, okay, this is going to be in slow motion, or if they have a sample and you see it, sometimes people don't really right away understand, like, why are you telling me to lift my arm like 3 times because we're doing it from this side, or why are you telling me to put my dress on and off and because we're shooting it from the front and then we're doing another one from the back. So as long as they're explaining to you, it's fun, and then you're kind of like, oh. But when you see it, the videos are cute. It's becoming more and more popular. I do more and more sessions that include videos or just videos, so it's fun to do. It's probably going to be more in some instances than a regular photo session, because there's a lot more work involved in producing videos and editing and so forth, but it's fun to do. But that's like sort of the basic difference there. So I appreciate your question. Oh, we just got one more today. So easy night for Mike. And on to, this is our last one for the night. Good short summer. I have a tendency to talk, don't I? So this is good. Maybe I should leave it to 5. I think some of these shows have been going over an hour. Hey, I'm all booked for my session. It's a surprise for my husband. One thing that dawned on me is that I'm at work all day. How can I get my album and keep it a secret? Yes, and I remember this conversation, and it's a real thing that people don't think about too, maybe at the last moment. And what she is referring to is when your session's all done and wrapped up and you've picked out your album and it's out getting printed and bound, like if your husband or boyfriend or partner has a habit of going outside your door and grabbing your packages, and they'd be like, oh, I wonder what this is. And if he's an opener of packages, then there goes the surprise. And this happens. And so people are like, you're right. He has a habit of opening my Amazon packages, or, not knowing. And he may think it's just something that's coming every day, and it's not. It's, something that I don't want him to get the surprise ruined. And people, what can I do? So it's not a concern for everybody, but it's a real thing. Photographers deal with this all the time. And so really, if you're not sure, or if it's a really big surprise and you're worried about it, you need to ship out your photo book. Usually it will go to a friend's house. Sometimes people will send it to their work, if they're at a kind of place where it's going to be, if you're a big corporation and you're not getting your mail real easily, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're in a small shop or office where your deliveries and there's a few, and it's going to get to you, send it to work. Parents' house, bridesmaid's house, so you can always have that shipped to wherever, in some instances too, if there is no other option, just have the equipment or the book shipped to the photographer, and you could always go and pick it up from them, or have them meet you somewhere and deliver it to you if you're nearby. Not everybody works with someone that's nearby, but you can always do it in that way as well. Because it has happened. Doesn't happen that much, but I bring this up with every session, especially with brides, because things are hectic. Boxes are coming, and they're living together. And secret can get ruined. So that's a real good question. Have an alternative shipping plan around. Discuss this with your photographer. And if you're not sure, ship it to a friend's house, ship it to work, or have it just go to them. And that way you can get it. And another tip too is when it gets to your house, that sometimes like people will put it in a conspicuous place, not inconspicuous, but conspicuous. I think one time a woman told me she put it in like next in a bed table in a drawer. And then I forget if it was her boyfriend or husband accidentally went in that drawer to look for something, and there was the album. And he was like, "What the heck is this?" And secret was ruined. And she I didn't know this, but she ordered the album like a long time before she needed it, so she was trying to find a place to put it. And it also just to help in the aid of keeping things secret, you may want to defer in sending your album out till it starts to get close to the time when you need it, so it's not hanging around for a month or two. And different album companies have different times they need to produce and print and ship material, but you may not want to have it 3 or 4 months in your house. That increases the chance of it being found or discovered in some instances. Wait till you get 2 weeks or so before you need it. And then even though you can have everything ready, just don't have the order sent out till later. So that way it's in your possession a much shorter time, and that way, even if you're sending it somewhere else, you're not going to have to worry about hiding it too long in your house. So yeah, the whole business of boudoir is like secret. My whole life is like secret phone calls, secret text messages, coming up with schemes, hide stuff like this. It's like so shifty. What people do, like women telling me that their boyfriend or husband is so like vigilant about knowing what they're doing, and then it's like, I couldn't even get my stuff out of that. I had to sneak like one shoe out at a time because I go walking out. Well, where are you going? What are you doing? Not in like a mean way, but just like in a curiosity way. You don't usually go walking out of the house with a bunch of clothes. Like, what's going on? So it could be even tricky sometimes for some people to get their stuff out, and they have to like order their outfits and again not send them to their own home. They're sending them God knows where, and they have to create with this elaborate excuses why they're not at work. And then the funny part too is like sometimes people are in relationships where the partner is constantly calling or texting. God, that would be so draining, but the phone is constantly going bloop bloop. The woman has to run to her phone. I was like, do it. Because if you don't, and it's just going to make things worse. So with some sessions, bloop, and the woman's constantly going to her phone, and it's ringing all the time, and she's like, I'm at work, I can't talk right now. 2 minutes later, bloop, and it's the guy again. I mean, what's going on with these guys? They're like texting their wives or girlfriends like 35 times an hour. It's like a little strange, but if that's what you got to do too, people texting all the time when they're in their sessions, not because they want to, because if they don't like the answer, be a lot more suspicion. So it's not so easy sometimes for some people coming in to do a session. Like a lot of covert planning that goes on, but it's part of the fun of it. So sometimes people don't realize. So they're like, oh yeah, if I walk out of here with a pair of shoes, it's gonna raise a lot of suspicion. Because you gotta wait till darkness. Like dress up like Men in Black or something. Like sneak a shoe out one at a time and hide them in your Hyundai. It's all part of it's the unwritten part of the boudoir process, the boudoir sneak out. So that's a fun thing that is part of the whole situation too. But yeah, it's just kind of typical, and it's the fun part of it. In the end, it's worth it. worth it in the end. It's a good surprise, you know, so it's no harm done. Just sneaking out for a afternoon of photos. So that's what we had for tonight. It was fun comments or fun questions. Good show. And as always, you know, it's probably during the summer going to be doing this every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, a little bit busier at night during the summertime. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. Or alternatively, like I said, just email me, leave them on my website chat or something. I see them and we'll get to them on a future episode. So I think that's all I have for tonight. And thanks for everybody for stopping by. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And then I will see y'all in, a week or two? So enjoy your summer. And, or enjoy your start of summer. And I will see you in a week or so. So thanks, everybody. And good night.